Fat. We're the Phat Peeps.
Hey, peeps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phat Peeps podcast. We are the Phat Peeps. I am Joey. I host this little podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts. I got Cameraman John. You heard him say my name a second ago.
Oh, hi, Joey.
We got PJ, aka Tech3200.
Hey, everyone.
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
PJ.
PJ. Oh, you sound so silky.
PJ's got
yeah.
moving up in the audio quality.
Oh, do me next. Do me
Hmm.
next. I want to be improved.
But,
Watch,
you
all
mean,
the
like,
audio gets
you need
fucked
to get it
up
better.
on my end.
Oh,
So
I
it's
know,
gonna be
right?
like static
It's-
and
We're-
terrible.
We still haven't gotten to somebody. We got Garrick, aka Big
Oh.
Target.
Hi, Garrett.
Oh, hello.
And this is the Phat Peeps podcast, a podcast where we talk about usually video games, but other nerdy media stuff as well. Sometimes
Wow.
technology, sometimes movies, sometimes
Whoa.
music. It
What
just
we feel like.
depends on what we're jiving with. Typically, I'm the one who is bringing video games to the table, and I got a whole slate of video game stuff
Wow.
today for us to talk about. There's constantly interesting stuff going on in the world of video games.
Indeed.
There's always like new moves happening, companies
Oh.
doing shady stuff,
Mhm.
fun, cool new things being announced.
So true.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that stuff, we like to start the podcast with
What is it?
a little bit of an icebreaker question.
Oh,
Wow.
it is quite hot these days.
I know, right? It's so
Yeah.
hot. We're like in the middle of a heat wave out here in California.
Ah, it's the worst.
I don't know how hot it was down where you guys live, but we were 108 the other day.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
It was 115
Hot
where I
in the
live.
valley.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, but PJ lives in the boonies. In the normal areas, it was about 100.
Yeah. I think it was 90s on the coast, by the beach, you mean?
Oh wow.
Anyway,
I
we
know.
need to cool down. We're going to cool down right now with this question.
Oh, yes.
Oh
The
yeah.
question is, when it comes to science, or not science fiction, when it comes to non-fiction, or I'm sorry, fiction narratives, I'm all
Go
over the
on.
place right now. What do you prefer? A science fiction story or a fantasy story? right?
Oh, great question,
Are
Joey.
are you more like Star Trek? Or are you more like Game of Thrones?
Oh, the
Discuss.
plot thickens. Let me volunteer, PJ. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
So, when I was younger, sci-fi was like my least favorite because I'm not much into space stuff. Barring
Sci-fi
like-
is only space.
Well,
Only
no,
space stuff.
not necessarily, but I feel like that's like what the genre encompasses for a lot of people.
It generally has a lot of the time has to do with space stuff.
Or the universe or something
Space.
like that, like
Ah, the
something
universe.
bigger. And
like
I've
I
never-
mean, technically, like Back to the Future is a science fiction.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
true.
nothing to do with space.
So like I guess there's like technology involved with it. So there's certain ones that
Space
I really
time.
like.
Technology.
Oh
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess the space time, yeah. Dang it.
Exactly. There has something to do with like an existential force, and I'm less into like that kind of stuff and more into magic-y stuff. So
Oh.
fantasy usually tickles my fancy, but I will say
ooh.
as I've grown older, like I hated Star Wars as a child. It's grown on me a lot. So like sci-fi is coming more into my life
So,
and stuff like
I'm gonna
that.
stop you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
stop.
Because
Yeah. Hold up.
your Star Wars point actually feeds into my answer, and
Oh.
it's that I actually straddle the line between the two. Star Wars
Oh.
actually isn't a science
Hot.
fiction movie. Star
No,
Wars is a
it's-
science fantasy movie
fantasy. Yeah.
yes.
Or a space
And-
opera.
or a space opera. If you will.
Oh.
Basically,
Space opera?
it's like the mixing
When do they sing?
of magic.
What
No,
did I
and-
miss?
That's not okay. Anyway,
Sweet
but it's
space.
the mixing.
Use
it's
the force,
mixing
Luke. Like,
of
I missed this.
your
Where's
standard
the movie?
like fantasy elements, like your knights and your wizards,
Yeah,
and your
It's
swords,
space wizards. Space swords.
and applying like a science fiction filter over it,
Mhm.
I
right?
never thought of
So
that.
one of our favorite franchises is actually a science fantasy franchise, and that's
Indeed.
Phantasy Star.
Oh.
So you were
Oh.
you
Makes
played that
sense.
since you were a wee lad, so you do like sci-fi.
Well,
We
and
caught you
Oh.
red-handed.
so I guess like
No,
to Joey's
but it's
point,
science fantasy. It's not
yeah,
science fiction.
it's true.
That's the
right?
thing. They're out
So
there doing spells. They're wizards and stuff.
right, and so I guess
right.
like I'm on Joey's side with that. Like I straddle the line as well. I
Hot.
do like somewhere in the middle, because I like this the sci-fi portion of it that I like is the technology. I like seeing cool, inventive things that could be a possibility or just so far out, but like maybe in the future will be a thing. That's why Halo always entertained me, and you're like planet side a lot on Halo, so it's not as like much of a turnoff to me. Where the space games where you're focusing in space turned me off a lot. So I guess that's why
Hot.
Halo was I always drew to it. Would you consider Halo like sci fantasy too?
completely
Halo's
that's
hard sci-fi.
That's hard sci-fi.
Yeah, hard sci-fi.
Okay.
But Destiny is science fantasy,
Gross.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
And
See,
I
so
love
I
Destiny.
like
It's
both of
just
them.
like, space titan knights and space wizards throwing fireballs and
Yeah.
stuff. I love it.
So is that why there's always been an argument between like the Trekkies and the Star Wars people? Like, is it just because?
Yeah, that's a core of it. Because the thing is that
It's-
like Star Wars movies are very conventional hero's tale fantasy
bad
stories,
versus evil.
right? Like the Star Wars movies could take place in a fantasy setting and nothing would necessarily really be lost.
Right.
Right.
Star Trek has a lot
to.
to Star Trek has a lot to do with diplomacy and like morals of space travel and like ethics of encountering races and stuff like that. So it's a little more heady.
Not much bad versus evil. Like that bad guy, that good guy. Cheer for a good guy.
There's
Yeah,
less.
I mean,
there's
the
more of a
later-
blurred line.
Later ones kind of do get that, and like the
but we don't talk
Borg
about
and
the-
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I feel like
yeah,
they go in
and-
reverse from each other because Star Wars starts blurring the line between good and evil later on in the series, versus like the.
I mean,
no,
maybe in the expanded universe, but they never really fully kind of touched that stuff in the.
not in the
films and stuff.
originals. No, George Lucas made a clear line of like red bad and.
well, I mean, they
green
kind of
good.
do, right? Not to get into like a long form discussion about the nature of Star Wars, but at the very beginning of Return of the Jedi, Luke arrives robed in all black
Yeah, he
and
was tempted
force
by the dark
chokes
side.
a Gamorrean guard,
Right.
right? But I think that what they were trying to portray there is that the key is to have a balance in the force,
Right.
and it's like they're always like trying to toe that line a little bit.
Yeah.
And the only thing that ever goes there is Knights of the Old Republic 2. And like barely anybody has played that, and it's not even canon anymore.
Yeah.
But like that's the only Star Wars property that I know of that like really kind of tackles the like notion of the Force and good and evil and Sith and the Jedi. Usually in the movies, they're like in the new sequel trilogy you want to call it. They're like kind of. It feels like they kind of want to go there, but they don't ever go there.
Yeah, I think they're scared of going there.
Well, they
'Cause
always
again,
want
the
that edgy,
simplicity of the story.
the edgy
is
like
just
middle
good versus
ground.
evil.
Like Mace Windu is a perfect example of like.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's
and
because he chose. Like Samuel Jackson, he had a lot of like freedom to create that character.
Well, yeah, because he's Samuel
And-
Jackson.
Yeah.
You don't ask Samuel
other than
Jackson to come
that-
on a movie and be like, "Dude, you're doing this." He's like, "No, I'm doing this." So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I appreciate that. So, to answer the question, finally, I lean more towards fantasy, but I can straddle the line a little bit. And obviously, like with Halo, I went full sci-fi, got very deep down that rabbit hole. What would you consider Gears of War? Is that
That's
sci-fi
hard
too?
sci-fi.
Okay, so I definitely do go into that side. It's just far less than I go into fantasy or the mixed portions.
Well, I
genres.
think really what it is that you don't really like space stuff.
Space.
So it's
is
just
weird.
it's
Right.
not
Space
it's
is
not the
fascinating.
sci-fi portion, it's the space portion that bothers.
Space. So you don't
I-
like
It's like,
space?
I just don't like
movies.
vastness. It's the same thing with oceans. Like I don't like a vast
No,
empty
What
ocean.
about
I was
a
just
vast
about to
plain
say,
or vast forest?
what about a very limited location inside a vast ocean, such as Bioshock?
Mm-hmm.
I just
I'm-
replayed through the
was-
first Bioshock, and that game is fantastic.
Oh,
I didn't play the
yeah.
first one. I played the American Revolution one, was it, or whatever?
No, it's not the Revolution.
It's not the
but I know what
Revolution,
you're
but it
talking
was
about. It's Bioshock Infinite.
Yes, Infinite. I
Infinite.
played Infinite, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. So
That's
yes,
guys.
I do dip into that universe too, and that's definitely sci-fi as well, right?
That's
Yeah.
close to the line.
I would put, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say like Bioshock 1.
Bioshock 1, yeah,
that's a
but
sci-fi
Infinite-
game.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite, I would
Yeah.
say sci-fi because like
So
you
it's
know
I guess
it's a city-
interdimensional or whatever.
So
but, yeah.
what
in
is
the sky.
what does
Yeah,
steampunk
yeah, yeah.
fall under? Steampunk falls under
So
sci-fi. Okay, so I love steampunk though. I love the aesthetics of steampunk.
Al-
everything
Well,
like
alternate
that.
actually,
universe.
no. Wait, steampunk can also redline, right? Because you have like, it depends on what.
No,
World
It depends on how it's
I guess.
influenced, right?
I
So
feel
if
like-
it's like steampunk, but there are like orcs and goblins.
Yeah, that's what I was
and
gonna say.
stuff
I
like
think the
that,
cheat
then-
sheet would be like wizards, orcs, and elves.
Well,
That's
So it's a subgenre. of
fantasy.
the
that,
major
but most of the
genres.
time it's just an alternate universe. Most of the time it's alternate universe of our history.
Actually, maybe here's a way to look at it: are they aliens or are they monsters?
That's true.
If they're aliens,
Yeah.
it's sci-fi. If they're monsters, then it's fantasy.
That is a good
maybe.
determining
I mean, what would you
factor.
call like Godzilla?
I
or
mean,
something
it's
like
not
that?
entirely fair, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah. I think wizards and orcs, fantasy.
You got me with
laser
that
beams.
Godzilla.
That's
example,
tough.
though,
Yeah, it's
because Godzilla is definitely sci-fi,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but he's a monster.
I
It's-
feel
It's a guideline, but you don't have like
yeah. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of genres nowadays cross the lines and just go
Yeah.
in between
When
two
I
of them.
that's what
Yeah.
makes it interesting.
Because when I
Yeah.
think fantasy, I think Tolkien. Tolkien.
Right.
Tolkien.
And I think,
Tolkien?
I
So
think that's-
yeah. So anything inspired by that is fantasy to me.
Yeah.
I can get that.
yeah, nowadays we have like other properties that I think
Yeah.
invoke that, such as The Witcher
Yeah,
or
The
the
Witcher.
Elder Scrolls series,
Mhm.
Right.
But
or
so
Game of Thrones, obviously.
keep in mind, guys, the point of this is an icebreaker. So we're talking about book, film, TV shows. So let's try to keep it in that realm.
One specific though, like
No.
The
I
Witcher
mean,
is a TV
like it-
show now,
in general.
Yeah.
and was a novel.
No, well, we
Original.
did fall into the whole
oh well
game goms.
Yeah, that's fair.
the problem with it is I don't watch that much like
Oh, that's a problem.
like most of my influence
I'm
comes from video
sorry.
games, so that's why I had to mention it.
Awkward.
But book wise, I read all the
Oh.
Halo series when I was younger, and then Harry Potter on the
Harry
conversal.
Potter. There's a fantasy. That's a classic. Fantasy.
Very
There you
fantasy.
go.
But that's,
So,
Okay.
that's a good fantasy.
I've
Fun
read
to
a lot when
say.
I was a child. I read far less now. I haven't watched movies very often my whole life, and then TV shows is mainly just cartoons, which didn't really have much of a genre other than being stupid.
Well, I'm glad we got PJ's whole early profile of his reading history.
It's
Yep.
very interesting. I just find the fear of space very interesting.
It's not a fear of space. It's
It's-
just it's a disinterest in
the
it.
it's not the
in
fear of
space.
space, it's the fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. Disinterested in the unknown.
It's funny because like in a weird way, like space stuff is kind of also just like sea travel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you could
Well-
easily interchange
Well,
like
that's
the
why they always have, like,
Enterprise.
Pirate ships in space and stuff like that. It's the
you
same
could-
idea.
Yeah, you could set like the idea
Planet
of Star
Treasure.
Trek could take place in like the 1500s, and the Enterprise is like a Spanish exploration vessel.
Yeah.
And they're just landing on islands and like
yeah.
making contact with tribes, right? It just
Yeah.
happens to take place in space.
But Earth is boring, except for deep sea, because we haven't discovered a lot of that stuff.
Well, I think there's something to
Nas.
be said about having the ability to, because you have that like buffer of the sci-fi, allowing to tell a poignant story that like says something about the human condition, but it be a little bit more digestible because it's not in your face. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of things about science fiction that can convey things about race relations and class relations and people in destitute situations and stuff like that, without, you know, being so that people immediately want to kind of like, you know, turn away.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like for the most part, if you boil it all down, every plot point has been done. Art imitates art. You can only make things so unique other than the journey. But like the journey can be different, but like the end goal of the story will probably end up the same, and it's will probably end up predictable other than some plot twists.
Nothing's original.
Nothing is original
What
anymore.
was your answer, John? You're the last one.
Oh, what? Wait, dude, what did Garrett say?
I thought Garrick was the last one.
Awkward.
Wait.
Yeah, PJ took
Awkward.
all my time.
What did John say?
Oh, I'm pretty.
We didn't do. None of us said anything except you and Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I like sci-fi a lot.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
mostly a sci-fi boy. I mean, once in a while, like yes, like fantasy is nice. Like, you know, Lord of the Rings. Like, it's more of the action adventure kind of fantasy
Mhm.
stuff is fun. But when I like come down to the neat, like the what's the saying? Down and gritty. You know, I like my sci-fi to be like realistic
Yes.
and down to earth, and like not down to earth.
Yes.
Realistic.
Down to earth.
Down to earth.
I want it
like
to
the
be a
Expanse.
caring, true person.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, it's like I do like my Star Wars sometimes, but it's like, again, it's like that's more fantasy to me. But like Expanse or yeah, like
Westworld.
I'm blanking. Westworld, like that kind
World
of
of West.
World of West. The realistic kind of
Waterworld.
sci-fi is what I mean. Waterworld, like that's a long story. We'll talk about that later.
There's
But
a,
yeah, so yeah.
a deep-seated like love-hate for that one.
Yeah, no, that's like a nostalgia kind of thing. But yeah, sci-fi is my go-to fiction.
Got it. Garrick?
Oh, I'm gonna agree with John. Like, I always tell tell you guys here from me that I prefer like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. But when it comes to fantasy, those answers are few and far between.
Yeah.
I do prefer sci-fi. It's just the thought of like, I mean, you could explain it the same way of me saying, it's hard for me to grasp someone just waving their hand and magic happens, whereas for some reason I can grasp this whole unique like sci-fi explanation through explaining their fantasy sciencing. That's easy for me to grasp. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, like it's like it's such a weird thing. Like, if you boil it down, it's all exactly the same thing. It's just a different vessel once again. But I enjoy sci-fi more. It feels more grounded to our world, as if it's more possible. Because for the most part, I haven't seen much magical stuff happen in our world. But as far as the science goes, what if 1,000 years advance and we could
Yeah.
teleport or
I think
time
that's
travel or
Well, that's the
something?
point of
Yeah,
it. Fantasy is
grounded.
supposed to
Yeah.
be something that could never necessarily happen,
Yeah.
but sci-fi is like
Well-
technology that could be created.
I was actually going to say that I think that Garrick's problem is like a real one, and a big part of making a like realistic and interesting fantasy setting is taking those types of things into account, right? So like having a magic system that makes sense,
Yeah.
to some
Yeah.
extent, whether it be like, you know, using certain objects to, you know, get elements out of the world somehow, or like how alchemy is done in Full Metal Alchemist, where it's like you use a transmutation circle and that like transmutation circle dictates whatever's happening, and you can only do it with like the resource if you have the resources available, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
let me use a good example as a recent fantasy that I watch. His Dark Materials
Oh,
on
I would consider
HBO.
that sci-fi, but yeah, continue.
Mm,
Continue.
there's animals and stuff. There is technology, so it does blur the line
Yeah,
a little bit. But I would
I
consider
mean,
it more fantasy.
it's yeah.
technology is like a thing. Like you can't get
Yeah,
away from technology to
yeah.
some extent,
It's
Because
right?
more steampunk, anyways. So that's why I
yeah,
would lean
okay.
towards it
Because
as fantasy.
it's I mean it's kind of a spoiler, kind of not, but it's more of an interdimensional kind of different
Yeah.
worlds, like multiverse kind of thing, which is why I would consider it more of a science
Yeah,
fiction.
but
But
to get there is very heavily weighted on the
yeah,
process of fantasy and magic also. Um
uh, it's I've read the books as a kid,
oh,
so
okay.
it's explained. Well, okay. So the reason why I would consider it sci-fi is because it is grounded. Like there are rules and physics involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there are like myth stuff
See,
in it.
okay, so
But
that's
so
the
yeah, it
issue
would be like
with
a
the
science
show
fantasy.
is because there wasn't enough time for them to catch my interest because
Yeah,
they're moving on with character development and they're forcing me to just accept that they're walking around with animals and
yeah,
they just open a random portal somehow, and it's just so many questions and they're just overwhelming me with so many questions while they're just advancing the story, which is like it might have been just a bad decision on their part
yeah.
or I'm just stupid.
Oh,
So
yeah.
but uh
Well, no, I mean, if they're just like opening portals and you're like, I don't understand how they're just opening portals, then that's like something wrong with the storytelling.
well, I had the same issue with Carnival Row, the one with Cara Delevingne and
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
what's his
one where
name?
she's like a
yeah.
pixie or whatever.
Yeah,
Like Legolas or whatever,
Yeah, Legolas,
Ollie.
and it's just like oh, once
Orlando.
again, I
Yeah,
just had to accept that there's like it's civil war, it's like racism again, and like them versus us and all that. I get that, but like I need to explain how this happened. What's the lore a little bit more? Like they don't touch upon. Maybe they'll explain it in the next season once everything's settled down and all the pieces have fought like all the dust has settled. Like but it's tough for me. I like the premise, but I can't get a hold of it like I did for some reason with Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
And I think that probably has a lot to do with like the amount of time that you spend in the world, right? So like I'm thinking about like the reason that books and video games are able to do it so well is because the player and or the reader spends a lot of time in that world. And with like
Yeah,
a book, they can get a lot of stuff on the page and it can tell a lot, right?
yeah,
And with video games, they can fit a lot of stuff into the world. When it comes to like movies and television, they're way more limited on time. Lord of
that
the
is true.
Rings, like the full extended cuts, like each one of those movies is like 3 hours long or something
Hmm.
like that,
Yeah,
right? And like Game of Thrones is 8 seasons of like what 10 hours of content per season or
Yeah.
something like
But with
that.
Game of Thrones, I was kind of intrigued because it wasn't when it first began, it wasn't heavily into the fantasy other than the White Walkers. Like
yeah,
and
True.
it
Yeah.
was all about intrigue and all that.
yeah.
So
That's
it
what
was it was a
hooked
slow
me.
progression.
And that might be because it's grounded more
Yeah,
in like historical
Yeah.
like
yeah,
fact. Like it's a lot of the narrative in those books, George R. R. Martin based on actual history, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
And that gives it a realistic feel that you
yeah,
don't get from a lot of other fantasy IPs.
yeah. Which is why I think I like sci-fi so much because it's in the realm of possibility, and I like being able to. I think that's why I like uh what's it called what's Man in High Castle, that kind of type of show where
Oh
it's like the
yes.
timelines are
Mm-hmm.
like kind of split. Like I like
Yeah.
seeing that
I
a
love
different
that.
timeline, like Watchmen. Watchmen, another great example of like
I
seeing
love
what would
alternate
happen.
reality.
Yeah, alternate reality. That's I think that's why those tend to be sci-fi movies,
Yeah.
which I'm really that really draws me in, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
not again kind of spoiler, kind of not, but that's kind of where his Dark Materials series is going. Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah,
Okay.
Wait, yeah, that's a hard show to pinpoint because it's kind of fantasy, it's kind of sci-fi.
Yeah, you saw it already, right, John?
I'm like in the middle of the season.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's maybe
also
easier.
Oh,
I was gonna say it's maybe easier to immerse yourself in sci-fi because it's like grounded to some extent.
like the rules work.
Too.
Like you know the rules, kind of.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it'll have to do with Earth or like humans, or you have something to latch onto that's familiar. Whereas like fantasy worlds are completely, new.
Yeah.
To some
Other
extent.
than like the concept that like of orcs and elves and stuff, that's probably why it was like Lord of the Rings was familiar to me because I'm familiar with that type of genre of fantasy versus those species and humanoids.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Looks like everybody's got an answer. And now we can move on to some news stuff.
Wow.
First one's not really news, but it's just kind of something interesting that I want to talk about.
Okay.
There's a fan game being made based on the Lego property Bionicle. Are you guys familiar with Bionicle?
I miss that so much.
I'm so old.
Remember the ones where like they flip the disc out, like their body turned, and they throw the disc?
Oh yeah.
That was so cool.
Oh, I think I stopped.
And there was the ones that would like roll up into a little ball.
Oh yeah, I had those. I had two of those.
Anyway, Bionicles are dope, but they're not really like a property anymore that Lego makes, or at least I don't think they do, right? And anyway, this Bionicle game is being made. It looks really cool. It's a third-person action game.
Sweet.
And it appears that Lego seems to be relatively cool with it.
Nice.
And is letting the people do it.
I mean, if they're not going to do it, why wouldn't they let someone else?
Well,
right, especially if it's like a dead property of theirs that they
Yeah.
don't really do anymore, use anymore, and have no intention of doing anything with,
Right.
then, they might as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
freaking dope.
I mean, it's more of like just for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
Sake.
Oh my God.
Nostalgia's.
I guess
Right.
they stopped making them in
Yeah.
2010 was the final.
What was the hit? Why did I do that? It's just not selling.
Everything just goes out of vogue
I guess it
eventually.
goes out, yeah.
Recent
Like
low
like
sales, lack of
Beyblades.
new interest in
Beyblade.
theme.
Yeah. that makes
Most
sense. Okay.
people don't know. Like we joke around about Beyblades and stuff, but like most of our audience won't know what it is unless they're really like
into that
aware
kind
of the
stuff,
history.
or yeah.
Well,
no, because
Yeah.
they've done reboots
Yeah.
of Beyblade recently, so it's not going to be that far.
Yeah,
up.
but it's
Beyblade's
a
still around.
small influence though.
Kind
I
of.
would
The
say.
problem with Bionicle, from what I'm reading right now, is it was so lore based that a decade worth
Dude.
of lore, like,
Dude.
eventually gets to a point where you're like, what do I do next with a Lego?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
all the actual Legos are just like, spin-off product of other established IPs, or just a Lego thing, like a default pirate ship or whatever.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in elementary school when this was like popular. Me and my group of friends, I printed out like I think it was like 15, 20 pages of lore from like the internet, and took it to like school, and we're all just like reading it and stuff during recess. Oh man, dude,
Nice.
that
Oh my
game.
God.
Oh, not game. That
Nerds.
I know, big nerds.
It was
That's
cool,
cool.
man.
I want to
My
check this
blue
out.
eyes.
Yeah, check the game out.
Because remember what I remember, all the games that Lego or Hoover made, back in the day were kind of bad.
Oh yeah.
So
A lot of I guess on this article I never had heard about it, but they had a point and click Bionicle game,
yeah,
which sounds
Yeah.
pretty
And
horrendous.
I think they had a Game Boy one.
It was okay.
I didn't have it. I think I played it at a friend's.
So the one
Not
that
the
this
Game Boy
guy's
one, also.
working on is
The
a
point and click
hack
one.
and slash, right?
Yeah, it's like a third-person character action game.
Nice. That sounds like it will be fun. I actually wouldn't mind. It's gonna be free, correct? Is he gonna do like a Patreon or something for it?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be free. And that's kind of what I wanted to like get to, right? Is like when it comes to like fan games, where is the line in terms of like what is okay and what is not okay and like
It's okay as long as the property holder allows it. Like Legos chill with it. So
well, what I mean when it comes to like money and stuff, right? So it's like
okay.
clearly they shouldn't make money from this because
I mean, it's still their time
they
invested.
don't own the IP.
But that's the thing. Like, okay, so let's just say Lego's like, yeah, we're cool with this. This will maybe revive a series that we could like reboot the toys again 10 years later. And then so he's just like, hey, would we be cool monetizing this and sell it for whatever people are willing to pay for it, and then we split the cut and you guys get 5-10% of the royalty or 25%, whatever, because it's your property, and then I'll just take the remainder because I did all the work. You know, like at that point, then I'm sure a lot of there's big companies like Activision and EA would probably be like, we want 90% or go fuck yourself. But like, I feel like companies like Lego and more, I don't know, grounded companies might be okay with it. So that's where it would be acceptable, I suppose.
So actually, in the article, you can go read on Vice, written by Patrick Klepek, actually. They actually describe the kind of what the rules were outlined, and yeah, he is not allowed to or I'm not sure the gender of the developer actually, right. But point is the gender or the developer is not allowed to is not allowed to charge money for whatever ends up getting released.
Okay, see, right. So that was outlined when he had the conversation with Lego.
Right,
yeah. And so that's
now the question becomes like Patreon.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was
so
saying.
It's like you're not actually selling the product.
They're just donating you
but
money.
But people are donating you money to
fund the project.
That's the thing. It's like he probably wouldn't, or they probably wouldn't be able to get away with like putting one of the Patreon tiers as get the game. Right. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be able to sell the game in general, right? Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't be able to put that on the Patreon tier. They wouldn't need to because the game would be available for free. So I guess in that sense, you could write it off as being like, people are just giving me money, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I could use this money for whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be being used on your IP.
And then at that point, your Patreon page is selling yourself because you're just like, oh, if you like this game and you could just mention the Lego game, then I'd like to work on more other big projects by supporting me, blah, 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 blah. So you're not necessarily monetizing the game. You're monetizing yourself as a person.
Yeah. Now, I wonder if this so this comes out and is successful. Does this lead to Lego picking him up to develop
and we see like stuff?
Who publishes the Lego games right now? Warner Brothers?
Yeah, I think so. Well, maybe.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see like a AAA Bionicle game.
But
I mean, 2022.
That's the thing, though. Like, I wonder, they would have to put him with Warner Brothers because I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers owns the stake in the game market for Lego.
It would be published by Warner Brothers. But it's interesting because it's very similar. It hasn't happened, but there's precedent for that happening in the past with Sonic Mania, right? Whereas the team, like the lead designers and stuff on Sonic Mania, were big names in the Sonic fan game, community.
Yeah.
And basically Sega looked at them, saw what people, what that community and the fandom was into, brought them on to develop Sonic Mania, and like lo and behold, it's like the most well-regarded Sonic game in like 2 decades.
Right.
But apparently that like the Japanese, I don't know if this is true, but I've seen a lot of like rumors that the Japanese team, like the Sonic team, has like a chip on their shoulder about it and is really salty, and they're never gonna, like, no other Sonic Mania is gonna happen ever again. Christian Whitehead and like the others that worked, like they're not gonna make another official Sonic game because they came in and like outdid the original team, and the original team, rather than get better, said,
Yeah.
no, you're not allowed. I don't know if that's true. I just, that could all be like conjecture.
I mean, that's definitely
but-
the case for the Pokemon team, the Pokemon company with all the fan Pokemon games that they always like immediately take down.
Yeah, they shut
Say
down
they're-
fan
for some reason they're
games.
scared of that. That it's like, I don't know. It's like, are you really scared that a small like kind of fan game's gonna take away your sales or something? It's like it's not making money.
Yeah.
They're not. I don't get it.
And I
Makes no
mean,
sense.
to some extent, that is potentially a legitimate fear.
Yeah,
Right.
Right?
yeah, it could
It's
be.
like if you're not advancing your game and like making it better, then there is definitely a chance that competitors, and maybe that's the thing, right? And I was going to bring this up, is like if you're making a fan game, maybe you should just make a regular game,
True. Yeah.
because then you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. And there's obviously like downsides to it not being a fan game in terms of not having that recognition,
Yeah.
right? And obviously the developer might not necessarily have the passion for it if it's not, like the Bionicle game here is a good example, where it's like, what would this Bionicle game be if it wasn't Bionicle, right? Like obviously this is happening because the developer has a passion for this toy line that was released in the mid-aughts. But for something like, another Metroid 2 remake or something like that, I don't remember the name of it, but it got shut down like pretty fast by Nintendo. And it's like, it looks good, but like, why don't you just make your own Metroidvania that people will be super into and you'll be able to sell?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of understand for maybe the Bionicle thing, just because I don't know how much lore he goes into, but like there's already a setup lore that you don't have to kind of create from scratch, and then you just kind of go off of that and design that game around that lore. But yeah, I can see why you would say that. Be like, just make a brand new game, or just change the skin, just change the names, and just kind of copy everything. But it's definitely it's like free market research for these big companies, though. It's like now that if this is successful, Lego knows that Bionicle will probably sell.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So it's like it's a reboot
no
to
real
the
risk.
series.
Yeah.
It's free publicity for something that's already dead for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm
True
all
that.
for it to see what happens, and this guy gets a little bit of recognition. He might get picked up by a game company because Lego backed him on it, not like, paid him, but was like, yeah, sure, this is good enough for us to like say this is a good game or whatever. So
yeah, I will say that is maybe like the one thing about a fan game, is that if you just complete it, you can show it off as like a demo of your capability, right? And it's similar to like writing spec scripts. You just like, here is a episode of Big Bang Theory that I wrote, and if you're into it, maybe you'll give me a sitcom, brand new sitcom that I can write myself, right?
I feel like that would go like south really quick though, because I don't know.
No, that's how it's done.
That's how it's done. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so far fetched to me, because it's just like, oh, I wrote an episode. It's like, now write a whole series.
One of the
well,
first
no,
exercises...
but I mean in terms of like how you get in.
Oh yeah.
They want something that's similar to whatever it is that they're going to be producing,
and then like afterwards they're just like, oh, now you got to make something new.
Yeah.
Like
they want something that's familiar, but they can like, because it's familiar, they can judge it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Also, you're often brought onto a team where it's already the show's already made, so you have to kind of write in the style of what's already written. It's one of the exercises I did in screenwriting class. It's like we're supposed to choose a random sitcom, which I chose Big Bang Theory. I've never seen it, but I just watched one episode and just wrote like a little treatment or a kind of a rough draft. And someone that in my class that watched it was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much feels like the Big Bang thing. That's how it goes."
Damn.
So like, if you can, like,
for someone that doesn't
do
watch sitcoms, that's pretty impressive.
I wrote
it's stupid
episode.
The humor is very easy to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, sitcom humor is kind of like, I was gonna say, I wrote an episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, that
Oh,
sounds
wow.
dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just a
Yeah,
side
I ended
note.
up taking a lot of like inspiration from like Fallout and like Bioshock and stuff like that,
Nice.
right? Because we talked about this, because it's like at the end of the day, you're like imitating other art
Yeah.
that you've seen, and you're taking influences and you're like combining them together into something new that isn't like wholly new. It's constructed of a bunch of older things, but
Random
Yeah.
random side note. I bought a carpet for the hardwood floors to dampen
Wow.
sound reflection.
Ooh.
And Blue just went and claimed it.
Oh, okay. I thought she
No,
was
that
just,
happened.
like pissed all over. it.
No.
yeah, I was just
Like,
peed
fuck
all
this.
over it.
No, she's laying on it and she looks so happy, and I
Oh.
just wanted to share that because
Just-
it made me very happy that she just randomly
Oh.
decided to
She's
keep.
probably happy that she doesn't have to
Yeah.
lay
How
on the hard floor
adorable.
anymore.
Okay, pick her didn't happen, PJ, after this.
Yep,
Let
pick
me.
her didn't happen.
I'll take a picture right now and I'll see if I can upload it over the podcast. Okay.
Nice.
Anyway, I think we've
Anywho.
exhausted this topic.
Oh, for sure.
This Bionicle game looks cool. I suggest everybody go check it out if you're.
But
like,
wait, there's
familiar.
more.
There's more.
There's more. What?
No, just kidding. Moving on.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next topic. The next topic being Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Wow.
A new Hyrule Warriors game set 100 years before Breath of the Wild. Of course, it's
Whoa.
being developed
Breath of the
by
Wild. That's my
Koei
favorite
Tecmo. Are you guys
Zelda.
familiar with the Hyrule Warriors?
No,
games?
you gotta explain this to me because I was kind of stoked, but then I was
No.
like, "Oh, it's a spin-off? I don't. What's this all about?"
Are you familiar with Dynasty Warriors?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is made
So
by the
it's-
Dynasty Warriors
Okay,
team.
so it's like lots of enemies.
There's lots of
battlefield.
enemies.
Okay.
Your characters are doing like big attacks, like big crazy attacks that are like wiping
Wow.
tons of enemies. Apparently, people really like the Muso games, and people really like the first Hyrule Warriors.
Okay.
So, or at least I'm pretty sure this is its own game. I'm going to look that up. I don't think it's an update. I think it's its own game. But I'm
No,
gonna look.
it's like a prequel to Breath of the Wild.
Right, but I mean, I don't. It's not like
Oh.
an update to
Oh, right,
Hyrule
right.
Warriors,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
It's like
wonder
its
if this
own-
is gonna go to the point where you remember. I don't know who watched the game or played the game, but at one point Link reads Zelda's diary, and I'm pretty sure that's the same time zone that this game's gonna take place in, when she
Right,
was still
yeah.
alive and everything. From what I'm understanding, so basically we'll get to see the point where that diary was being written into the development of their like relationship building, which I mean they've done that a bajillion times, so I'm intrigued to see their spin on it this time, if there is even a spin.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really neat to see. I love being able to go back and like see the past in a story, right? Or I forward or back. I guess like time jumps in general are always interesting.
Yeah.
But like the going back is always interesting because it's like you've like heard about things and have kind of like a base understanding, and being able to go back and like play through it or see it gives you like a broader understanding of the world.
Yeah.
Which is much different than like jumping forward. Jumping forward is interesting because you want to see like where everybody is now. Right. It's like it's all the unknown. Whereas like jumping back into the past, it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's
That's-
unknown, but like filling in blanks.
Yeah. Because that's what I
True.
hear about people playing Breath of the Wild was like they wanted to play during the Calamity, not after, which was what the Breath of the Wild game was. But it's like the more I played it, and the more I thought about it, it's like I kind of liked just exploring the aftermath of everything and just kind of figuring out the story. Like, okay, there's a battlefield here. Oh, there's a bunch of like guardians and you know weapons all there. So it's like you can kind of create this story of what was happening in this area. I mean,
Yeah, I agree
Which,
with you. I've always loved
um,
like kind of
like,
storytelling through environment.
Yeah,
the environmental storytelling.
So it's like I'm not too into going into the past and like visiting that, but I've heard a lot of people really wanted that in the Breath of the Wild games. So how is it just a hack and slash? Is there like no cooking, exploring? How do these games work?
Wouldn't it
I
look like Breath of the
don't
Wild?
think so.
I'd be kind of interested, or I'd be not interested. It'd be kind of weird if they went in the same vein of story and changed the combat system.
Well, that's the whole point of this spin-off, or at least the past Hyrule Warriors. It is more.
Oh, this is the Hyrule
heavy.
Warriors. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a sequel or a prequel to just in story. Not game.
Okay. I mean, Hyrule Warriors is unique and it fit for what it was trying to be. I think it's weird that they're trying to do it with a storyline that was established as an open world exploration. Why
but that's
do
the thing
that?
is it's so like John said, Breath of the Wild is all about exploring like the remnants of the world, right?
Yeah.
But Hyrule Warriors is going to be taking place when the war
So you
happens.
get to experience this war.
Yeah, so
which
like
a lot of people have wanted. I get it. So I can see why they made this game.
So like it plays different because you're on the battlefield fighting a bunch of units, like fighting armies basically during the Great War, the Great Calamity.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've never experienced this game or the past games, but I like my good old fashioned. Just I'll wait for the sequel to Breath of the
But
Wild.
I do think that there is something to be said about your take, PJ, in that it is like weird to see a story be advanced through different gameplay mechanics.
Right.
Yeah, that's like
like a
them
different
releasing
franchise.
a movie and then being like, okay, the next portion of the story is gonna be exclusively a book. Like, what?
Oh, they do that so much. Yeah, I hate that.
That happens with video games.
It does. It's just
Like,
weird.
there's definitely. I want to say one of the Matrixes does that.
Yeah. Yep. The Matrix. Yeah.
They did it with short.
which one?
That's the other thing. They did it with short, like episodes, like 5-minute episodes, and it's just like, why is this like key piece of information about the universe in this 5-minute short that most people
man,
watch?
Kingdom Hearts is the worst.
Kingdom Hearts is just a spin-off central.
It's like, you need to know this incredibly crucial information that ties the entire plot together.
Oh god, that's
sorry.
horrible.
It's a Japanese only mobile game.
Oh, what? They do? Oh my god. Like it makes sense to like world build, so you don't need to watch it, but like complete story? Seriously? Damn.
I might be wrong, and that mobile game might be available in the US now. But
Which one?
no, the mobile game, it's like Cross X or
yeah, no, I think that one's still only available in Japan. I mean,
anyway, it like tells the beginning of the Keyblade Wars.
Okay.
It's like the entire crux of what sets off the rest of the narrative, and it's in this mobile game.
Isn't it Deerdrop or something like that? I know what you're talking about. It was for the DS or something.
No, this is for phones. I'm talking about a phone game.
A phone game?
Yeah, where you join one of the houses at the Keyblade Academy.
It's a Sony thing.
And it explains the story about how the Keyblade Academy fell into civil war and the Keyblade Wars and Xemnas.
No, so they did have it. Yeah, Xemnas. They had it for I think it was PSP or the Vita or something like that. I don't remember the name of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
No. You're not. We're not thinking of the same games.
But it's the same. It's the same storyline. Like it's the Keyblade.
It's not the same story. No, it's not.
They must have done something.
It's the second Keyblade Wars, PJ.
I guess there's two.
Because that's the thing is that battle takes place on the battlefield of the Keyblade War. That's why all the Keyblades are just standing around out in the field, because that's where the war took place.
I still can't see the oversized keys and weapons.
Kingdom Hearts is stupid. We should move on.
I love Kingdom Hearts. Why do you hate on it so
awkward.
much?
I don't know.
Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, you know where you can get a Kingdom Hearts game? On Xbox nowadays.
Wow. Where
Oh,
could you
with
get
this
Xboxes?
new Xbox that's coming out, the Xbox Series S, you'll be able to get next gen
Joey,
performance.
was that a segue?
It was. Anyway,
Oh,
Wow.
holy cow!
Microsoft announced the Xbox Series S that has been like rumored forever, coming in at a $299 price point.
Wow. That's
Right?
Wow.
That's
Wow.
Whoa.
cheaper than the Xbox One X,
Huh.
and
What a
packing more of a
deal!
punch. Doesn't have a disk drive, so
Okay.
Okay.
That's not a big deal.
that's for a lot of people that's not a big deal. For some people it is kind of a big deal, especially if you have a library of Xbox One games,
Yeah, but just play it
or
on
Xbox
One.
360
internet.
games, or Xbox original games on disc that now you can't play.
Ruh-roh.
Because that's how the Xbox
Ruh-roh.
does it, right? Where it's like, if you have, like, let's say I have like Black on the original Xbox, and I put it into my Xbox One, it's going to be like, hey, this is a copy of Black. I'm going to download the like Xbox One version of Black, right? That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
Am I
think so.
wrong?
Yeah.
Makes
Or does
sense.
it just
I don't know
natively
if
play
that
these
sounds-
things?
I
Can
don't
you
know.
just drop an Xbox original disc into an Xbox One and it plays natively on the console?
I don't know.
I don't think that's how that works.
I think it
I-
is backwards compatible.
It's
As of late,
supposedly.
most
But is it-
consoles
That's what
have
I'm saying.
been
Is
backwards.
it backwards compatible like that? Right?
It
Because
should
that's the
be.
thing. It's like there's only a limited amount of Xbox original games and like Xbox 360 games and stuff that you can play on the newer Xbox. And it's based on what is available in their library, I'm pretty sure. So it's like if they don't provide it digitally, you can't play it.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds
Which
familiar.
leads me to believe you're downloading, like
Well-
you're basically putting the disc in as a authentication key, and then you're
Well,
downloading.
I don't think no, because for the most part, if you have an old game, like let's say from the 360 or something, those games already have a license on there to prevent pirating as well. So I think it's a way around it. Goes with that license key to just let you play the physical copy instead of downloading
Huh.
it.
No, but you're missing the point, Garrick. What I'm saying is I don't think that the Xbox One natively plays 360 games.
Yeah, I remember
Oh.
that being a big deal when they first announced it, saying
Yeah.
that it wasn't, and then they slowly released games or allowed backwards compatibility.
Oh, I
So,
don't know
like, I'm
them
pretty sure
games.
what it is that they have Xbox One digital versions of these older games.
And you're just using
So it
disc
means that, like,
as a
but even still, it means that you can't like just pop in old Xbox games to play them anymore. So like that is kind of a hit for people if they have a bunch of old Xbox games. But man, that $299 price point is super low, and it's clearly not going to perform as like high as the Series X.
Well,
That's got a much better like card in it and stuff like that.
right.
Well, I
But-
think it's the whole goal is just market share because that's around the price point of where the Switch is. So it competes with where the Nintendo Switch, and like for the most part, everybody has overlooked where the Switch price point has been for a long time. They've
Yeah.
kind of had a monopoly at that price point.
And I think that's a big part of what has made the Switch such a easy buy for people, right? Because it's like it is that $299 $250 price point depending on the version that you're getting. So it's really easy for people to be like, oh, I can drop $250 to get this in addition to my bigger, more powerful PC, console, whatever it is. Rumors about the specs for the Series S is that we're looking at 4 teraflops as opposed to the 12 on the X, and
Let me just
10
say that's
gigs
such
of RAM.
a dumb name for something.
Teraflops?
Yes.
Yeah, it is kind of dumb. And they're going to be targeting like 1440 rather than 4K.
Okay.
But for me personally, I don't really care about 4K.
Yeah, me either.
So like this is a really
fine.
good deal for people, and it's a really easy sell to jump on board.
Right.
Even if they're taking a loss on this, which I think they probably are, it's worth it for Microsoft to get people into their ecosystem so they can sell them Game Pass.
Game Pass, dude.
Indeed.
And
It's all about services now.
Yeah.
Chances are this will probably come with a month or two of Game Pass. You get people on it, you get people hooked, and then, you know, come the end of their free pass or whatever, they're like, oh, you know, I might as well download this. It's like Netflix for my Xbox.
Yeah. Because I was kind of skeptical about it. I don't want to be an ad for it, damn it. But yeah,
it's hard to not be an ad for, but it's a good deal.
Yeah, I'm like
what they're providing.
I'm not gonna cancel it. I was gonna cancel it, but I was like, this is kind of useful to have.
We actually, that's what I was talking to my coworker about. Is that I'm ending up getting the most value out of this subscription for once. Usually, it's like, I forget. It's like a gym membership where you use it and then it just goes away. Like the value received from this is just incredible, and I think honestly Microsoft is making great strides, and in the long run it's gonna only benefit them.
Well, they're not gouging people. I think that's the biggest thing I have to look at here. It's like it's very very reasonable, and especially for content creators, like, holy crap, dude, you're giving a lot for very little.
All I'm just gonna say is, to harken back to Nintendo, I think Microsoft is hoping for people to make the Switch.
So, with that being said,
did I make a good segue? Yes.
Oh, were we moving on?
To no, it's okay. It's all right. I thought. No, continue. You have a point.
Also, okay. I was gonna say, we still don't know how much the PlayStation is.
Oh, we don't? Really? Oh, shit.
No,
I'm gonna assume $4.99. That's my guess.
It's gonna be expensive. I think it's either gonna be $4.99 or $5.99.
Yeah, wasn't the PlayStation 3?
The PlayStation 3 was $5.99.
Yeah, it was 600. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How much? How much was the 4? I thought the 4 was cheaper.
The 4 came in at $400.
Yeah,
$3.99. And yeah, that, you know, it makes me wonder if Sony has just been waiting for Microsoft to announce the prices of their consoles, right? Because you know, with the PlayStation 3, they took a huge hit on their console being more expensive than the 360, right? It was just more feasible to go out and spend $400 on a 360 than $600 on a PlayStation 3. Especially, I mean, to be fair, the PlayStation 3 had less going for it because there was a bunch of other weird stuff going on with it that made it not a good proposition at the time. But going into the kind of current generation, we saw that flip on a dime, right? All it took was Microsoft to come out and announce their thing with a Kinect at $500, and Sony to come out and say ours is $400, and boom, next thing you know, Sony's taken the market share and is now in the lead of the console war. Right. So, I think Microsoft is really like smart about their pricing here, and they're trying to keep it cheap to get it into consumers' hands because they know they're going to make a lot of their money on services like Game Pass. And it feels like Sony was waiting to see their price points and is now probably going to have to bite the bullet and take a loss on their consoles.
And I feel like they're still going to position themselves a little bit higher, though, because their selling point is exclusivity. And it's probably going to stay that way. But I definitely think they're going to probably cut their prices by like at least $100 to compete with this. But it depends, because we haven't seen the Series S, like the big console. What is it? The like the full on package.
Series X?
Yeah, the Series X. So we haven't seen the price on that yet, have we?
I'm not sure. I think I saw somewhere that it was. Oh, maybe those were rumors. I think I saw rumors that it's going to come in at $499.
Okay, so then that means either PlayStation's going to position themselves just like right above that, or they're going to put it right at that, or they could even just cut in between and be at $399. But they're going to be taking a hit, I think, if they do that.
Yeah, I think $3.99 would probably be the smartest point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because then it's
for
like, why make a
them.
choice? You could have the best of everything for $100 less than their most expensive console.
Yeah, I'm not sure they would be able to do that because of how powerful these consoles are going to be.
Right.
They might just not be able to take that much of a hit.
Yeah, because then at that point you're
probably see
giving
them
it
coming
away.
in at $4.99.
Right. Well, because look at what happened with the Blu-ray
And also
disc.
Sony doesn't have a service to provide, right?
Oh, they don't.
Or
they don't have PSN
maybe
anymore?
we'll see. No, I mean they don't have like a Games Pass type service.
Gotcha.
They have PSN obviously, but
But they charge you for that.
and they have PlayStation Now, but it's not really. I know people who use it, and people seem to be pretty pleased with it, but it's not the same as Game Pass. Although it's cool because you have access to a lot of old games. It's maybe more similar to like xCloud because it's a streaming service. But my cousin just played through the entirety of Metal Gear Solid 4 on it.
Did I just hear Cloudy
on his PlayStation 4?
Cloudy.
Oh no!
No,
Please no!
We're shutting all the blinds. Cloudy's not coming in.
No, hurry,
He's
move
being
on.
indoors.
Okay, yeah, you're right. We need to move
that's
on.
No,
it.
quickly.
Oh, God.
No, quickly.
Oh God.
No, hold him back.
xCloud's here.
That's not what Cloudy's on. Oh no, not xCloud.
Oh, he's even
Get him
worse.
out here.
xCloud peaks. Oh God. I'm sorry, everybody.
Okay, we're gonna move on to some EA nonsense
Yay!
because EA is always doing nonsense. Anyway, I don't know if you guys are aware, but UFC 4, the latest in the UFC fighting game franchise from EA Sports, has recently come out. People bought it. People seem to be pretty okay, pretty cool with it. Like, it's not tanking in terms of like user reviews like Madden is, I'll tell you that. But EA recently added in-game ads to it.
That's so awkward.
And
typical EA.
We've seen this before. The NBA games have done this. The 2K NBA games did this with both 2019 and I believe 2020 as well.
Because I could have sworn that I've seen like footage of Madden or something with the billboards. There's like Coke ad or something. It's like,
yeah,
it's like I feel like they're just trying to recreate real life.
Isn't
sports.
that moderately like illegal because they got to think that the audience is like a good portion children, and that you're not supposed to directly advertise towards children, are you?
It's no different than advertising on like TV, is it?
Yeah.
True.
It's like running
because I'm feeling
on TV.
I feel like if you want to be immersed in a sports game, right? Actual sports
is basically a giant ad.
Have ads. So it's like why you?
It'd be better if it was fake ads.
I hate to defend EA, but
no, but it'd be better if it was fake
would
ads.
It though?
No, because like think of it.
Fake ads for
you have real
UFC?
players, you have real teams, you have real fighters. Why would the?
I don't know. I just feel like I'd love to see like a goofy grape soda campaign. I don't know.
But that's great in like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Where like the point is kind of to satire like brands and stuff like that. Yeah. But I feel like and obviously there's a line, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if I start up a game or like if in between rounds they subject me to a non-skippable 30-second to a minute long advertisement, then like I'm not gonna be cool with that. But from what I can see and what's like shown, the examples that I've seen of it in UFC, it's like done in the middle of replays. Yeah, and it's not even a second.
Yeah, and they're recreating that in the game.
Yeah.
But okay, so do they change the ads out, or are they just there?
I assume they'll probably change the ads out, right? Because
currently
they're showing ads for the boys.
Yeah, so this is the current ad for the boys.
I'm okay with that.
So, and I think maybe what it comes down to is like what's being done with the ad money, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
I've always been on the side of if putting ads in your game means that you get income consistently so that you can continue to make content for the game.
Free fighters, man.
and the ads aren't intrusive, then by all means, do it.
Yeah, if it's sunk back
right?
into the community, that makes sense.
Right.
Now the problem is it's an EA game.
It probably
Right.
isn't. It's probably
So
sunk into
yeah,
the
it's
top.
going right into like the executives' pockets.
Right, the fat cats.
Yeah.
are
and
getting it
and
right
most
away.
of these games are flooded already with microtransactions and stuff
Oh.
like that. That it's like it's
Including
literally
UFC?
just dipping.
I don't know why
I
this
don't know
reminds me of
UFC
like
as
a
much.
GameStop ad. Come get your exclusive GameStop mini gloves for your fighter. Yeah.
Get your exclusive The Boys shorts and gloves for your
Oh,
UFC
yeah.
fighter.
Only at
as you release
GameStop.
a UFC 4.
I wonder how it works because these fighters are sponsored, like, and it looks like I'm not sure
Sure.
if it matches, but like some of the shorts they're wearing in the game, they have sponsors. Like, I wonder if they're actually correlated to actual sponsors that the fighters are.
Reminds
Yeah.
me of the
Sponsored by-
Brisk
it's sponsored
Fighters
That's
type
true.
thing.
Yeah.
The show. and
Or
the
it's like,
game.
and it's funny because like a lot of the Ubisoft games have actual brands in them for a lot of the gear, right? So like the Division and Ghost Recon, right? You have 511, Crytek. It's like a bunch of different brands that manufacture, survival gear and like combat gear.
Mhm.
And it's not like overtly advertised to you. They're never like, hey, go buy a 511 plate carrier. But you see that in game these are 511 plate carriers. So if you were going to buy a plate carrier for whatever reason, you would already immediately have a brand in your head.
True that. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it's kind of weird. It's like weird. And on top of that, it's like from a perspective of somebody who wants to like do that kind of like military role play, you want those brands because those are what real operators out in the field run.
Right.
So you would want those in game so that you can run those on your characters as well. So like it's like a two-way type of thing where it's like these companies that are making, pants and plate carriers and beanies and stuff. Under Armour is another one. Under Armour's all over the place in the Ubisoft games, right? And they're not even like outlined like explicitly all the time. Like in Rainbow Six, Frost has a beanie, and it's an Under Armour beanie.
I feel like
Wow.
you see a little
It doesn't
bit of
say
that.
Under Armour beanie. It just happens to be an Under Armour beanie.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like Adidas is all over Call of Duty. Like, I can definitely see a lot of the jeggings and, like, sportswear.
But that's the thing, right? Those are there to, like, invoke, like, Reebok and Adidas wear, but there's no actual brands on any of those.
Yeah, but
they're just, like, generic track suits
Right.
and stuff like that.
but it's
Right,
crazy that
whereas,
we
like-
think of it right away as that stuff.
Well, I mean, you could go to, like, any cheap outlet store and find knockoff track suits and
Now
stuff
you
like
gotta
that.
get the Gucci
Mhm.
stuff, man. Gotta be bougie or no way.
What? Adidas?
So
Why not
true.
Radidas? That's the knockoff
Anyway.
one I get.
I'm on the side of I'm down with ads as long as they're not intrusive on gameplay, because in portraying like a realistic environment, I feel like they generally add to the
Yeah.
So,
world.
but is
Like,
that
if
a...
I get that,
Go ahead, John.
oh, it's like if I get that, like, little transition with the boys on Amazon on, like, I don't know, like a shooter, then I'll be like, bruh, nah,
Right,
it
that's
doesn't make
weird,
sense.
right?
Yeah, but on a
But, like,
sports
Between
game where
rounds
that's
or something
actually
where you have nothing
that's-
else that's going
yeah.
on? Yeah.
right, and that's actually what happens in the actual MMA.
But is that a commentary
like-
on our
like,
lives,
so-
like where it's okay to put that stuff in a game just because real life's like that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think
Well,
you can
it
argue
depends.
that,
It depends on
how
what
commercialized
you
our lives
want
have
out of
become.
the. Well, no, but I think it just depends on what you want out of the experience,
yeah,
right?
it's an experience.
If you want your sports game experience to be as close to the real life experience, like emulating the real life, like
Yeah.
watching it on TV experience, then you want the ads in it, because like that's you might not necessarily want cutting away to commercials for 2 minutes or whatever. But like, the ad cutaways during replays and stuff like that adds to the immersion. It adds to the flavor and the realism of the world that's being portrayed in the game. I was going to mention like a lot of skate games, right? They'll have like monster machines, the drink machines and stuff like that.
Death Stranding too.
And like Death Stranding is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I know.
but like billboards, and if you're playing like any like racing game or something like that, to see like Pepsi billboards and stuff like that, I think it just adds to the world.
Well, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, just I'm playing devil's advocate with this. I really could give two shits about it. Because like if I was playing a sports game and there's an ad, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting viewpoint that we've gotten to a point where it's like we want it so realistic that even the things that we considered to be nuisances years ago, like TiVo was created to be able to skip ads, and then it's like now we're putting them in video games and people are okay with it because it creates an environment.
But that goes back to my point about the intrusiveness of it, right? Ads are only annoying when you're watching TV because they cut away from what you're doing to present you an advertisement, right? Whereas like here in UFC, they're using it as a transition into a replay that they would have shown anyway, and as a transition out of that replay back into gameplay.
Right.
And in the form of like in a skate game, right? Riding past a monster drink machine isn't a nuisance.
No.
It's just
and
there.
That's on a level that I can agree with. My thing is, like, yeah, you have the replays, whatever. I don't know if that makes the people playing the game better at it, because like, oh, I missed that punch, I could have done this, whatever. So maybe it
it's another like adding to the immersion thing,
right? So that's
on TV, it has replay, so it's going to cut to a replay because that's
and if you're playing the game for that, like, that's cool. But like, I'm more on the side of like Nintendo with Punch Out, where it's just kind of like you move to the next round right away. There's no breaks in between. At least I don't think so. Maybe in the newer ones, but it's just like, that's more arcadey, and that's what I'm playing it for, the game, not for
the simulation.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why you would play Knockout, because it's not a simulation; it's just an arcadey fighting game. Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I stand with it. But once again, I'm playing devil's advocate because I really don't care that much. Good for people that wanted ads in their games.
I feel like we haven't heard very much from Garrick on the topic.
What's your thought of ads?
I only like The Boys.
So that ad is okay. Got it.
Garrick, you don't really play very many games that are conducive to having ads in them.
No,
so, like,
not
if
at
they
all.
put any ads in games you play, it would be a fucking annoying nuisance.
No, I would. To be 100% truthful, that is my stance. I would be up in arms.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a
paid. I paid for this game. If I paid for this game, then I shouldn't get ads. Like, if you're having a
cable package as well.
Yeah.
If you're having to put ads, well, that's a different medium. If you're having to put ads in it, then you're doing something wrong.
I mean, if you're playing like NFL or Madden or these sports games, wouldn't these games be an ad for these events?
Well, if they did it more,
God, we're living in a fucking
more
spiral.
gracefully, they would in like in the stadium there would be actual ads or sponsors, then they would do that. That would be like less intrusive instead of in your face, pause the game or loading screen, here's the ad. No, but make it like tasteful. Then
I think the MMA one is the UFC one is tasteful just because that's how it looks in.
Well, all they have to do
to
fix that problem for people that want the simulation and the experience and people that want the gameplay is just put a setting in the menu that says turn off replays. Boom, problem solved.
Sure.
I think there are options for that.
And then there you go.
I haven't played
then my whole
UFC games in a while.
My whole argument's moot and it's over.
And I was going to say that like the 2K games are way worse about it. or at least when
Oh,
the
okay.
iteration that they introduced in 2K19, as far as I know from looking into it, basically the way it worked was before the game and after the game, you got a full-length commercial, and even if the game loaded before the commercial was over, the commercial would still finish before you were allowed to play.
Yeah, because
So,
for that's the
and
UFC style.
that's unacceptable.
Yeah, because the UFC style one, it's literally like it's like if you're watching sports games, like panning through the stadiums, like this sports game is sponsored by blah blah blah, and it's like you don't even think about it. It's just part of the intro, right? I just feel like it's the same.
Right.
It doesn't like I don't care. It's like
You don't think about it because it's supposed to be there.
yeah, it's supposed to be there. It's like if I was playing the game, I wouldn't even like blink an eye. I would just be like, oh, here's my replay.
Whereas,
Mhm.
in contrast, Rocket League, I don't know how
Oh,
much
no.
Rocket League you guys played, and I haven't played in a long time, so they might have
Uh-oh.
introduced this, but when Rocket League first came out, it was very clear that the stadium had, like, sections meant for ads,
Oh.
but there were no ads there. They were just blank, and I thought it was weird and jarring. And I always thought, like, why don't they get advertisements? And, like, this game's huge. They would make so much money if they just put,
Mhm.
a Pepsi advertisement in that little slot. And then maybe instead of putting out DLC car packs, they could have just put out free car packs.
Ooh, yeah.
That would have been kind of cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
But,
So,
you know.
for the next topic, hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Go, Jay.
What?
What?
You guys seen this? You guys hear about this?
What happened?
It's Super Mario 3D All-Star stuff. You guys seen this?
Oh,
Hear about this?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
It was a beautiful segue
tell me about it.
with no
Ah.
appreciation.
I just got it. I understand.
There was a Nintendo Direct last week. We're not going to talk about everything. We're only going to bring up a couple things from the Direct. First one being Super Mario 3D All-Stars out September 18th.
Wow.
It has Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine,
Solid.
and Super Mario Galaxy.
Solid.
Wow.
And that's it.
But it's missing something. It's missing something.
You're right. It is.
What is it missing,
something.
Joey?
Yeah, what is
Galaxy
it
has
missing?
a sequel,
What?
Bum, bum,
Holy
bum,
cow.
bum.
and it's not included in this collection. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, what's up, Nintendo?
What's up
No.
with that?
But no, but like legitimately, like what is up with that, right? So is it like,
How old is
do
2?
they plan on?
2's at least 5 years old, right?
Oh, older than that. I want to say Galaxy 2 probably came out in like 2011, maybe.
Wow.
I didn't play a whole lot of the Wii games, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really get the Galaxy games. As like a big fan of Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine,
They're kind of weird.
I always thought the planetary aspect of it, like
it broke the game up too
they
much.
took all the exploration out of it.
Well, yeah, and it broke the game up too much.
And they just turned it,
because then you're just
they just turned it into like a 3D puzzle platformer,
right.
that you go from like puzzle to puzzle and it just bounces you along. Whereas like the other two 3D Mario games, the older ones, have way more exploration to them. You're wandering around Delfino Plaza or like the different maps inside the castle and stuff and kind of figuring stuff out.
Let me just say, Super Mario Sunshine is absolutely one of the best games ever made.
People hate Super Mario Sunshine.
That was fun.
I loved Super Mario
I
Sunshine.
agree.
So all those people bite me. It is a good game.
Oh, I will bite you because I agree
Anyway,
with
how?
you.
So Galaxy 2 not being included, are they making like a remake of Galaxy 2?
Like just a remaster, and then they're gonna charge $60 for it.
Right?
I wouldn't put it past them.
And that's the other thing, right? Is that, so obviously this is like a callback to the Super Mario All-Stars that came out on the Super Nintendo.
Hey
Which-
now.
They released when they did the Direct on the Super Nintendo emulator thing on the Switch, so you can actually go play that now if you want. But obviously, like, it's called back to that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game, but it's a collection of remakes
Oh
of
wow.
the NES games, right? Like full remakes in the style of not like gameplay wise entirely, but like aesthetically, they are remakes in the design of Super Mario World.
Isn't it?
Right?
Isn't it like a turn-based game? I thought, or is that a different game
No.
I'm thinking of?
No, you're thinking of
Papers.
No.
no, you're no Super Mario RPG.
Oh yeah,
Seven
yeah.
Stars.
You're right.
Is that Paper Mario?
No,
no,
Mario
Paper
was
Mario
based
is
off
a
of it.
spiritual successor
Yeah.
to that series.
Oh.
But yeah, so these they're not remakes. They're just like up-reses to fit, the quality of the Switch screens. But like
So
they're
not
not
much
remakes of these games. Yeah, so not much higher, exactly. But yeah, so it's,
Bam!
it's
Right in the cutscene.
like it's kind of like, I don't want to say it doesn't. I don't want to say it feels lazy,
But it feels lazy.
but like
I'll say it for you, Joey.
Right? Like,
I'm okay with this.
because I'm sure that I'm sure it took work to like port the games to the Switch or whatever, right? But like compared to the original Super Mario All Stars collection that came out on the Switch or on the Super Nintendo, this
It's
3D
a smaller feat.
Yeah, it's a smaller
Because you're not
feat. It
transferring
doesn't-
like 16-bit to or 8-bit or whatever to like a full-on res game. You're just taking resolution and upscaling it.
It's like, and kind of like it's not doing anything much different than like what you can do with an emulator on your computer.
Right. So it
And
feels kind of cheap.
It just feels like a collection of games that, and I mean it's cool, like people have definitely wanted Super Mario 64
But that's
and Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy on their Switch to be able to play those games on the Switch.
But I feel like that's Nintendo in a nutshell. They've been around for so very long. It's just like people just want these things again, and they get nostalgia for them. So it's like there's a market for it, obviously, and it's better that they do it rather than like just people going out and.
And it's possible that they hatched this idea. Well, there's two parts of this, right? So it's like it would be like remastering 3 entire games, which are like a lot bigger than the original games, right? You're like, it's not really fair to compare 2D NES Mario games to what it would take to remaster or to like completely remake a 3D Mario game.
Right.
I think it could have been done if they basically made all of them in the same style aesthetically and just
I think
built the different games using the same assets across different games. But like I said, it just doesn't feel like it's in the same vein as the original All Stars because it's just a collection of these games.
No, but
not a remake.
I think they have to ask themselves, like, what is our audience? Our audience is a group of nostalgia gamers that want to play an old game that they enjoy on a new console, whereas PlayStation's the exact opposite of that. We have a bunch of current gen players that want to play an old game that looks good now. So that's why when PlayStation remakes something, they do an HD remake of it and they go all out. Nintendo, they up-res it a little bit, but that's not their point. Their point is to be able to give you the ability to play a game on something that you don't have to go dig through your storage for.
Well, yeah, and you're right. Ultimately, they don't. And to some extent, this is for Sony as well, right? Because Sony has just put out the Jack games that are just,
Yeah, and I'm not saying
like
that doesn't
Jack
happen.
Daxter.
I'm just saying, like, for the most
But
part.
you're right. They'll have, like, Blue Point come in and do a remake of Shadow of the Colossus or Demon Souls.
Right.
And completely remake the game.
And I think it all comes down to what game it is. Like, Shadow of the Colossus is a good example. That was a visually astounding game when it came out. Everyone was like, holy crap, this is all hand-drawn. I'd never seen something like this. This is unbelievable. So wanting to see that in HD is a thing. I don't think there's too many people like. I mean, it's definitely like, oh, people thought about like, what does Mario Galaxy look like in current day graphics? But that's not a deal breaker for people at all.
I would have liked to see Super Mario 64 in an art style that looks like Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, that'd be cool for sure.
I think that would be. I think that would have been super cool.
They should have at least done it for that one. Like, just did an HD remake of that, and then the other two they could just up-resed.
Well, yeah, like I actually think that I would have rather just taken a remake of Super Mario 64 than a collection of these three.
Yeah, so just slash the All-Stars from
and
it.
then also like you would have been able to like have Galaxy and Galaxy 2 because they're newer, so you don't have to do as much to them. Those could have been their own collection.
Well, even Super Mario Sunshine would have been fine.
Yeah,
Because
it's
GameCube, so it's not like it's not that far out there. It's just N64 is like
that's a real polygonal.
We're starting to see more of a surface than a shape.
I actually don't know. I should look because they did do the like DS re-release of.
They did.
Super Mario 64 that looked a little better, didn't it?
It did, but the only reason why is because it was such a small resolution. That's my opinion of it, because it looked similar. It still was very blocky, still could see the pixels, but it looked a lot better because it was on such a small screen. I think that was a legitimate just port. But I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember. I think there was more done to that version of the game than just porting it.
Yeah, well,
I
obviously
think it might have had like slightly better models
because like that was in 3D. So like, or like not 3D world, but I mean like it was 3D visual, so they had to do more to it.
Probably just always add those higher res textures.
Yeah,
but at least they can do.
Yeah. Also, I'm a big fan of Super Mario Sunshine. I hate that it gets like
I
a
don't
bad
know why
rap
it has
and
such
people
a
don't
stigma.
like it.
I didn't even know that it did
Never
until
played it.
like a couple of years ago, because I loved it so much. I was like, man, everyone's gonna love this game, and it's just like people shitting on it. It's like, why? This game had everything in it, and it was just different. It was
very
different.
sunshiny.
So I don't know. I'll never understand that. But good for them. I'm glad they're finally releasing some stuff like old classics. Hopefully they'll do a re-release of Mario 64 down the road. That's in high res. I wouldn't doubt it. They've re-released it how many times now? So.
All right. Also, apparently this bundle's only being available until the end of March 2021.
So it's a limited run.
Yeah.
Is there a quantity limit too?
I believe the retail edition will have a limited run, and the digital edition will be available for a limited time.
Got it. Okay.
Is how it's described on the Nintendo website.
I appreciate that, just because of the fact that like I remember back when it was just physical copies. It's just like, oh, we're making 1 million, and it's just like it sold out instantly.
And if it's out, it's out.
But with digital, it's kind of like, oh, they can put a timeline, and it's like, yeah, it devalues it a little bit. Well, no, not really though, because like the physical copy still retains its value.
I don't think the point is for value thing.
As of right now,
it probably
in 10 years,
because this. So I'm reading this Reddit post and people are bringing things up. Apparently, the Super Mario Battle Royale, which I didn't put on the docket to talk about, but that's a thing that's happening. I'll just really bring it up. Super Mario Battle Royale. It's like called Super Mario 35. 35 players run in the same level. It looks almost identical to Tetris Royale, Tetris 99, whatever it's called.
So everyone's running
in terms of
like
trying
its
to
art
survive,
style, right? The level.
Yeah, and like I want to say when you like kill enemies on your screen, you send them to other players' screens and stuff like that.
That sounds kind of cool.
I kind of played that.
Anyway, apparently that is also only available until March 2021.
Why are they doing limited runs on new games?
That's dumb.
Right. So
especially with a Royale game.
It's leading me and other people to think that there's probably something else going on here. Like something's going to happen next March in terms of like changing up how these are available or released or whatever. Right? Because it wouldn't make sense to just maybe a new console. Who knows?
That would make sense though, because it
But,
falls in
like-
line with like them
Well,
releasing a new
it doesn't
console a
necessarily
year.
have to be a new console. It could also just be a different way of providing them, right? So it could be a thing where like they break it all out into their own separate games.
True.
So you end up having to pay more for them separately than you would have in the
I
collection.
don't know. Just based off of
Right.
history, Nintendo's always done something where they put out a console about a year after PlayStation and Xbox. So I wouldn't. It's not uncharacteristic of them to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be weird for them to do something that's not a Switch. And if it is a more powerful Switch, then it wouldn't make sense for it to not use the same marketplace.
I don't know.
So I don't see how like a new iteration of the Switch would affect the game's placement on the store. So something weird's going on there. Who knows? It might just be Nintendo being Nintendo and being weird. But
Classic.
yeah, there's also speculation
Nintendo,
that
that
it might
crazy
just
son
be
of a
to try
bitch.
to drive Switch sales.
Yeah, possibly. Like
Where it's
people
like, you know-
panicking. I mean, hysteria causes causes people to
If
do
I
crazy
don't get
stuff.
my Switch before March and get this Mario game, then I won't ever be able to get this Mario game.
Yeah, and then there'll be like
Mhm.
it will be a bait and switch, and then afterwards they're just like, oh,
And they just sell them separately.
no, well that, or it will be kind of
It goes
like,
back in the Disney
oh, it did
vault.
so well,
Remember
we're just gonna keep it going or whatever, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that too. I feel like that's like the newest tactic. It's like you got to get it before it's gone, and then they're like,
I don't think it's a new tactic. They've done that so many times.
I feel like
the
it's
Disney
happening
Vault.
more
They've done
now.
that so many times. Like, buy it on DVD
Oh,
or
yeah,
VHS
no.
now before it goes in the vault. And it's like it's gonna come out. Like,
yeah, let me rage for a
years
minute.
later.
So I bought Sarah the Little Mermaid like collector's vault edition 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and it said it would never come out again. I was walking in Target
Yeah,
the other day, and it was
exactly.
sitting on a fucking shelf,
It's probably there.
and
yeah.
I was
'Cause of course it
Wow.
is.
so
Of course it's gonna
pissed,
come out again.
so pissed. I was like, really? Like,
Disney
what's the
tricked
point?
you.
It's like, oh yeah,
Got
2
tricked by
years.
Disney.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It's like my
Yeah.
goldfish could not live that, but I'm sure as hell going to.
You know why they do that? Because there are people out there that will buy every single iteration.
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
They just
Oh god, I'm
It's
gonna
the
buy all of it
same
from Walmart.
exact
they just got like,
cover. It's everything is
Yeah.
the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like probably on the inside it says published 2020, and it's just like, wow, you need to not do that.
How do you know it's not just like an old copy
I don't know.
that
Yeah.
they just have sitting around?
They
still
just
from
changed
2
the
years ago?
inside copy of it. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're
No,
saying
not
at
even.
Target?
No, I mean it's just
Yeah.
sitting at yeah. They haven't sold
I'd
it
be
yet, so
very
it's just sitting on
surprised
the
if
shelf for
Target
2
didn't
years.
sell a copy of The Little Mermaid from 2 years ago. It was-
Maybe a kid
Yes,
was like,
that's
"Mom,
fair.
can I buy this?" And,
It was
and
like-
the mom's like, "No." So he like kind of he slipped it like
he
beneath,
hid
like,
it for
between
2 years
the
as a
rack or
time
something.
capsule.
And in 2 years, an employee.
I
finds
would
it, it's like, "Oh,
agree
put
with
this
you
back
if
in
it
the
was
shelf."
just one, but it was
What is this
legit a
thing?
whole shelf of them.
Okay.
So it wasn't. It's not like, oh, that we just found inventory 2 years.
They found a rogue shipment.
No, because they do inventory every year. There's no way a box got missed like that much DVDs. Now
I don't know.
I'm putting a
man.
stop to this argument really quick. They definitely
These
re-released
DVD
it.
conspiracies
Yeah.
go too damn far.
Okay, let's move on to the last topic. Another Nintendo-related topic.
Wow.
Oh wow, so many
But toys this time.
This looks cool.
boys.
Nintendo continues to insist on being a toy company
Good for them.
through things like Labo and their amiibos.
Okay.
Oh.
Weird.
And this new announcement of theirs, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which is a AR game that you play using your Switch and little Mario Kart RC cars with cameras on them.
Oh, that's cool.
So
okay.
you like set up a track, and then you see the track in the AR on your Switch.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And you're looking like the camera feed, which is like on top of the Mario Kart character, right? It's kind of like like a GoPro type of situation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a neat little AR thing.
Yeah.
And
really
I
neat.
think it's super cool that Nintendo keeps doing weird toy stuff like this.
I'm intrigued to
Right.
see if people will rig this to be like an actual GoPro camera and use it for like YouTube videos and stuff outside of just Mario Kart racing.
Yeah. Probably won't have the quality of it because it looks like a normal like F first person perspective camera for like drones and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Which you can record it, but they're not the highest qualities.
This looks kind of cool. I gotta admit.
Yeah.
It's not practical for everybody because like you have to have a decent sized house for this to be a thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have some space
I like
to be able to do this type of thing, and it also you need to like not have carpet floors.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
another
really?
thing. Or
I mean,
pets.
I assume so.
Because like if you
I
have
mean, I'm not-
pets with an RC
Yeah, or
car,
pets.
all that fur is just
They'll
in
just
there
chase-
in a second.
Oh
that
yeah,
thing's
you're talking about.
Not
Yeah, I was talking about you won't even be able to play because the pet will constantly be chasing the
Chasing
RC
it.
car around, knocking it
What
over.
if it senses a pet and it can be like
That'd
a
be
what's the
hilarious.
thing?
Obstacles?
The chompy thing? Yeah.
Road obstacles.
Yeah.
It just turns your dog into a chain chomp.
Yeah.
Or
Chomp,
like a
chomp,
bullet
chomp, chomp.
bill.
That'd be kind of cool.
Borf.
But yeah, like for instance, in our house, it would just instead of the Indy 500 be the Indy 1. There'd be like no space. We literally would be doing a little racetrack that's like half
Yeah.
a foot long in circles. So
Well, you can make your own
can-
racetrack, right?
Yeah, you can go outside, the yard or something.
yeah, but that's all dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could go out into like concrete or something like that.
I mean, that's ideal to be able to make your own racetrack in the comfort of your home. But
Yeah,
it's
they
true,
always
not
pick
everybody
wealthy,
can.
like upper middle class families.
suburban,
Yeah.
suburban.
I mean, this
home.
to become clear, this is probably like a suburban kind of upper middle class kind of
Yeah,
type of gift.
I guess it works. Yeah,
I wonder what
it's
the price
go-
point's
the
gonna be.
marketing's going towards who they're trying
Actually,
to.
looking at it
impress.
now, is
It
it
looks-
even a real home?
Probably not.
I'm not sure it's a real home.
Oh no, the plot thickens.
You mean the trailer?
The
Dad?
set in the trailer, yeah, I think it might be a
Uh,
soundstage.
Yeah, I mean most of these commercials probably
Oh
are
no,
filmed
I've
in
been
actual
lied
homes.
to.
So all I can say about it is, it's probably gonna start at $100 at least, because you have a little camera, a toy
Oh
with
yeah, these
camera,
toys are going to be a little expensive.
and it's gonna be
yeah.
like Skylanders s type things, because it looks like you can collect different ones. So you're gonna just collect all the different characters, and you're locked into that character that you buy. So then it's just like, now you can charge $14.99 or whatever, or $15.99, whatever price point you want to go for each car. And then it's like,
Well, it's a little different than Skylanders though, because like theoretically you could just pick up one of these.
yeah, but what if you want to be
And
Peach
if,
and not
like,
Mario?
Yeah.
Then you should have bought Peach and not
Yeah,
Yeah,
but what if
Mario.
Peach is
true.
only as an external accessory and Mario comes in all the main bundles?
Then
Is it a
you
bundle?
got Mario and you'll have to pick up a Peach separately. I don't know.
That's what I'm
to tell
telling.
you. A
That's
lot
what
of
I'm
things
saying.
work like that.
That's how they're gonna sell this thing. I don't know. It's cool,
I don't know.
but
It looks kind of
it's
neat.
upsetting
It's a neat idea.
because I'll never have this.
And I don't know. Do you guys remember? Yeah. Anyway, go back and look at that trailer and tell me if that, because like the light that's coming in through the windows
Looks a little too hot.
doesn't look like real light.
Well, yeah. Usually for a set, you wouldn't just because of how long a shoot day is, you can't rely on the actual sun. So you would put
Yeah,
lights
no.
outside to.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no. I guess you're
but-
right. It looks like
Yeah, you
It
can
looks
definitely
like
see one
there's
of
like
the
fake
the
fences
lights
and fake
yeah.
trees, and then they just put a bunch of diffusers and they're just blasting lights through the diffusers.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Anyway, enough
Anywho,
talking about whether or not Nintendo faked the environment in this trailer. These toys are kind of cool.
Welcome to our new podcast where we dissect the backgrounds of all your favorite game trailers.
oh yeah,
Only live action ones.
Just live action ones.
That might
so there's
actually
like
be
5.
fun. We'll just like I love like the trailers of like, look at this group of people playing the game console and having a good time. Like, like the stock footage and the stock photos that
Yeah.
like they send out for
So
promotional
fake.
stuff. Like the Stadia stuff. Like that is hilarious because nobody's doing that with Stadia.
Yeah.
It's they're like lifestyle photos, I think is how you would like describe them. But they always do that with Nintendo stuff. Like Nintendo is super big on that of like, you know, we're having we're a bunch of young 20-somethings at a rooftop party. Let me bust out my Switch.
Yeah, it's even funny like because the Pokemon Go trailer was shot here in our little town, and seeing that and like all the people rushing to a fake gym and like guys in business suits, I'm like, no one here does that.
That's not real life.
Yeah,
that's not how
real
things
life.
work.
That'd be cool to see though. I wonder if it was like that the first week.
No, if it was realistic, it would just be like a big mob.
People just staring at their phones.
People.
No, big,
and,
a group of a convoy of cars. That's how it is here, at least.
Oh, convoy,
yeah.
No, I played a lot in the Bay Area, so less
I
cars, more just gather in a big group and then roam from stop to stop, and then you got people who are like Team Mystic, Char, Dig, Jig. Team Mystic, Char, Dig, Jig.
Yeah, usually that's for like community day. That's enough people do that.
Well, I remember when it first came out, and there was such a negative stigma about it, and they were putting it all over the news, and they're just like, watch out for these kids that are walking around aimlessly playing this game, and it's like all this publicity about it, and then I remember me, you, and Sarah were playing the game, John, like we were walking by my work, and like there was an older couple with, I don't even know, like a middle-aged woman or something like that, and we were like sitting there walking by on our phones, and we're like, oh, it's that Pokemon Go thing that I saw on TV. They're just playing it. They don't even know we exist. Ha ha ha. And I just like stared at the woman. Like,
yeah, I kind of love it when community days when everyone gathers together in one place and like does that, because like what's going on? Isn't that Pokemon Go game again? Oh, you guys are still playing that. And it's funny because like a lot of the people that still play are like older people too. Like I don't really see that many kids around.
I love when people.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Pokemon Go like definitely skews to an older audience.
Yeah.
Like I would like generally see quite a few elderly people at community days and like raid days on like Wednesdays and stuff like that.
Just imagine them coming up with a backwards Ash Ketchum hat on. What's up, you cool kids? No, I always love it when they come up with the cell phone doing a return at my job, and they put the phone down, and then I see Pokemon on there, and I'm like,
well, there is a gym stop
there
right
is,
outside your store.
There is. But I find it funny, and then like they're sitting complaining about technology and not like they don't understand how to do any of the stuff in the store, but they're playing a game on their phone.
Oh, they probably know about IVs and all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's like you can't open your app to make a purchase, but you know the extent of Pokemon and everything, what to do with it. You probably know more than I do about it, but you can't make a purchase for yourself. Anyhow, off topic.
What?
Oh my god!
I was gonna say, PJ, your whole like old man trying to be cool with the kids thing. That's not how it is at all. Because like I said, the age bracket skews old.
Right.
Kids can't play Pokemon Go. Because Pokemon Go requires going places, and kids aren't allowed to go places.
Right, right. So
allegedly,
like generally, like sometimes you'll see kids at like a community day, but they're always there with their parents, or like an adult.
And usually they're being dragged along too. That's what I've noticed too. It's hilarious.
Usually they're being dragged along by the parents.
Like, Mom, can we go home? Yeah, I'm still catching a Charmander, you little asshole.
I did a shiny Charmander,
but. Like a Wednesday night raid hour? No.
Oh, yeah, it's all adults. Yeah,
no children. It's a Wednesday night. Like kids can't go out on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, everyone's gonna go get their brewskis and play Pokemon Go.
No, they gotta go home and do homework and go to bed because they're a child.
Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about the kids. It's like when the lights go down and little Billy's asleep. Parents sneak out into town.
Pokemon Go players aren't drinking. They're
like middle-aged,
walking around in a group.
They're the middle-aged nerds that didn't have that stuff when they were that age. They didn't have the technology. They just wanted it, and then it's finally here. So good for them. I'm glad that technology has advanced enough to give all these people that were looking for their destiny an outlet.
Yeah, an excuse to go outside.
Yeah. Except
why are we talking
except
about
for
Pokemon?
during.
What are we talking
I
about?
I don't know, man.
They should make
I don't
more
know
like
how that
Pokemon
happened.
toys. They should make another like full size Pokedex that you can
That'd
get.
be sick.
Ooh.
That'd
Or
be
make a
cool.
Pokédex app
That you could, like,
Cell phone? Oh,
or cell phone.
I think they have that. They really should make like Pokedex cell phone cases.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not a thing that is like officially sold on the Pokemon
I
Center
feel like
store.
we need to write down all of our trap topics. Pokemon, Call of Duty, anything that like sucks us in.
Oh yeah, shit that spins out
Yeah.
of control when we start talking
Golly.
about it. Anyway,
yeah.
rope us back to where we were. These Mario
toys.
Kart
Yeah, those
toys
are cool.
look really, really neat. And
Sean was like, "Oh yeah."
and we'll have to see like what price point they come in at. But
I'm gonna say
like,
99 for the
if
set.
I was a kid, I'd be super into these things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I remember
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was a kid, I had like the Super Mario Kart toys that you could
Uh,
like you could pull them back and it would wind the wheel up and then they would like go
They still
forward.
sell those too.
So it's like that.
Like
Do
full
they?
on still sell them. Yeah, we sell them at my work.
Get myself a Yoshi.
Yeah, they had like all of the original racers and shit like that, and I always see kids playing with them. I'm like, oh damn,
That's the one that I.
it's just mind-boggling to me that over 20 years later, it's still huge, and kids know exactly.
Hey
what it
man,
is.
Nintendo characters.
They're iconic.
Go karts.
Yeah,
People are into it. Give me a dry bones in a cart.
hot.
I'm all about it.
Hot.
So, should we say what's going on this week?
Yeah, I was gonna say. With that being said, I think that's gonna do it for us here on the
That's gonna do
podcast.
it, dudes.
Before
Already?
we slip and slide up out of this business, we got some promotional stuff to do.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
Like telling you what's on the YouTube.
This week, make sure you guys check out what we posted yesterday. It is Overcooked 2
What is it?
with
Overcooked 2.
Oh my God.
Garrick, John, me, and my lovely wife Sarah.
So
So
Sarah.
it's her first gameplay. Go check it out. She was doing fantastically as she learned the game.
Oh yeah, enduring a lot of our yelling.
Very, very
and
chaotic. So
disappointing.
very fun.
You like it, chaos?
A few improvements. She just needs to work on the rice and washing the plates.
Exactly.
I feel like that's a good start for somebody who doesn't play very many video games because there's a limited number of inputs.
Right.
It's kind of just
Indeed.
like move around, pick things up, and chop things if you have to.
Well, it's also to
And more of the
simplify it even more. It's just like
Go
you
ahead.
got a busboy. You got to start somewhere. You got to wash the dishes first.
Right.
Yeah, you can kind of partition everybody off with their own jobs and stuff like that.
So I think everyone will enjoy that one. The people who have watched it so far, we've gotten good feedback. So check that out after you listen to this.
Oh.
Of course, this is up today.
Can't believe we finally got-
Tomorrow is another Greasy Grease episode with me.
Oh
And
yeah.
Sunday you'll be seeing another Call of Duty dub, of course.
What? We have another dub?
Oh,
Wow.
Always.
we have
For
all the
some reason,
dubs.
we keep winning.
Wow.
And then
don't
sooner
say
or
that.
later we
We're
won't.
gonna have like
Yeah, we're gonna have a dry
We're
spell.
gonna have a loose streak
Yep.
now.
Oh, it's all over.
Just gotta stay on
Right.
top
Well,
of it.
now we're just gonna do
Believe
funny
in us.
videos and sync to that level.
Wow.
False. I don't like that.
Man, it's like
Never.
we built a whole YouTube channel just based off of humor and stupid shit. Anywho,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And
so what's up with the
chaos.
stream?
What's on the
Yeah.
Twitch?
Oh, cool, dude. Thanks for asking. I have no idea, but tune in because
Oh, I
this
love it.
if you guys don't know, I mean, you guys should know, but it's breast cancer awareness month, and
Wow.
me and a couple other friends, streaming friends, we're doing a charity. Well, charity stream to be updated, but throughout the month, you can donate to breast cancer research. So definitely check out
Save those
research
tatas,
streams.
people.
Research. Save those tatas. Research. So yeah, hang out. What we'll be doing, Minecraft, Forest, maybe some what's that? Among Us. Oh, also Fridays are now Spoopy, Spooptember. where I
Wow,
play-
that's scary.
I play spoopy games all by my lonesome with you guys in the chat.
Oh
So yeah,
God, so
make sure you guys
scary.
head over to those two outlets. Follow John.
Yeah, and say where can people find
Follow
us?
John at twitch.tv/cameramanjohn, and then check us out at the Phat Peeps on YouTube. And make sure you
Oh,
subscribe to
yeah.
us.
YouTube.com/Fat
We
Peeps.
are
wow.
yeah,
We
we
have that.
do. We actually got that.
Yes.
But we are trying to reach our next milestone of 200 subscribers, so make sure you head over do that. Give us some likes,
Wow.
comment on what you'd like us to be doing on the next playthroughs that we're going to be heading
Hit
into.
that notification
And hit
bell.
those notification bells if you like our shit, so you can get
Just the one.
updates. But that's pretty much it.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. I think that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for listening to us here on the Fat Peeps podcast. And we will catch you next week for some more podcasty goodness.
Yay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And all
And-
that glitters is gold, only shooting
No,
stars.
Tim, please save us.
Tim!
No
Tim.
more. And boop, 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 boop.